Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we're your hosts, Bull and P. And we have several things to talk about today. Number one, Tennessee just got a big commit from Luke Thompson, in-state guy. We're going to be talking about him. I'm going to get P's thoughts because I've shared mine plenty of times. I also want to talk about Joey Aguilar. We've got some kind of like updates. It's kind of like some old stuff, but it's coming from spring. Some people got to go and watch them practice up close and personal. We'll hear what their takeaways were. We're going to give you our thoughts. We'll talk about quarterback for this year. We'll talk about a couple of other spots that might kind of be up in the air as far as who the starters will be. But as always, y'all, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And happy Father's Day to y'all if we don't get to tell you tomorrow. So, P, what do you think about the newest commit for our Tennessee Volunteers, Luke Thompson?
Man, I like him a lot, man. Goes about 6'1", almost 6 feet and a half, about 180 pounds. Pretty good size for a guy coming out of high school, and he's still got a whole senior season ahead of him. So, I mean, probably expect him to come on campus. I mean, every bit of 6'1", maybe 6'2", maybe like 205, 210. I mean, he's got a really good size probably by the time he gets on campus. So, um, you know, like his film, he shows some flashes. He also shows athleticism. I think you talked about him running a 10.5 and 100 meter. A guy that can absolutely fly, has really good burst. He's a guy that you kind of wonder, hey, how much experience does this guy have playing football? How long has he been playing? Because he looks a little bit raw in his film. Just some of his technique things or things just kind of look like he's a little bit inexperienced as far as being a technician of the defensive back position. So he's a guy, man. I think if he can get with some type of a specialist, or maybe once he gets on campus to Tennessee, they can really hone in on those DB fundamentals. I think like his pedal, getting in and out of his breaks, his transitions, flipping his hips, things like that. Just kind of basic movements for a DB are things that seem kind of new to him. He's not very familiar with those movements, it seems. So I think once he gets better at doing that, which may take him a year or two, maybe. Once he gets that carpet down, I think he has the natural athleticism to be a really good player. Just needs to get the technique to go with it to be able to function at a high level in the SEC. But
Yeah,
I like him
yeah,
overall.
yeah. You know what? I'm sorry to cut you off there, Pete, but I did want to try to highlight this play here. So watch him playing at safety. Watch the angle that he takes. This is some of the stuff that we're talking about. It's not a very good angle, and I'm not like neither one of us. We're not being hard on him. We're just saying that this is a guy that runs a 10,500 meters. So the straight line speed is like almost as high as it could possibly be. Like it's really good. You can't coach the speed. You can't coach the size. You see the physicality,
Mhm.
but to play DB, especially, playing in the SEC. I mean, you're going up against the skill set that he would need. For me, it just seems like it is so far off. I would love for him, Peter, just line up on offense. Just line him out wide, or
Good.
line him up inside of the slot. Let him be like a Jalen Hyatt because he's
Yeah.
probably actually faster than Jalen Hyatt was. Let him just take the top off of the defense, throw it up for grabs. Let him be that guy because watching his film, seeing what he's doing on offense, he feels a lot more natural there to me. So that's just,
Mhm.
that's my thing. I feel like he's a guy that, Tennessee offers because he's got really good size. He's got the straight line speed. And well, we'll figure out where he's going to go. We're going to start him off at safety because we feel like that's our most pressing need. He could definitely grow into it. He could definitely,
Mhm.
pick up on some of those skills. But I just feel like, man, his high ceiling might actually be on the other side of the football, Pete.
That's a great observation. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, he definitely could help you, like you said, maybe even immediately, just as a vertical threat.
Mhm. Yeah, I could most definitely see that. And P, I think that we lost you there. So with that being said, right, he came up last weekend for his OV, and we talked about him, and we also talked about KJ, and we said that we felt pretty confident that they would be pulling the trigger for Tennessee. These are a few of the big time players that are up on campus as we speak. Of course, that's Faison Brandon. He's already with us. You know what I'm saying? 5-star stud, looking good. P, I think he's filling out well. You always see Coach
Mhm.
Halsley. I feel like P in every single picture that I see Faison Brandon, I'm seeing Coach Halsley. But I just want to
Mhm.
get your thoughts. What do you think, just in looking at these players as they're up on campus?
They look good, man. These guys look like they're ready to come up here and play. I mean, he's already looking pretty good here. Probably what's he go about 6'4" and a half. What is he? What do you think he is right here? About 210 right here,
Yeah,
something
you
like
know what?
that.
I'm gonna say probably about 207.
207, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 207, 208.
Mhm, yep,
Something
seriously,
like that.
yeah. Good solid neck, which is, what you like to see there. I mean, he's,
Hmm.
looks like he has pretty long hands there. I
Hmm.
mean, good looking kid, man. Daggum leader. And I love him being up there on campus this week, knowing all the big time, visitors we have coming in, just
Yeah.
showing that he's just an absolute pro. takes things serious, and wants the best
Mhm.
players around him.
100%. So Faison's looking good. Now we got Tristan Keys. Everybody's been wondering about him. He's got that Louis satchel on. But P, what are you thinking here?
He looks like he's at home right here, man. He looks happy. I don't know who he's talking to. Probably talking to Faison. Probably said, "What up, Faison?" You know, something like that. Just got done saying that. I mean, you can tell
Yeah,
this guy looks like a ball already. Good
he does.
size, long rangy guy. I mean, I
Mhm.
think that he's ready to flip.
Yeah, I do too, man. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. And then this one right here is Gibson. That's the cornerback that chose Alabama. I think he's on flip watch too. Looking at this one, what? So Coach Hype goes what? P about what 6? Is
About
he
six
six
two.
three?
I think he's 6'2".
Oh, okay, so he's about 6'2". Yeah, so I think that Gibson's listed at 6'1". So it looks like he's every bit of that. Long arms there. He looks
Mhm.
happy. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, first thing, man, he looks just like James Pierce. James Pierce mixed with a little bit of T. Martin right there. I mean, he looks like a
Uh-huh,
ball.
yeah.
So I mean, Coach Heupel doing what he does, has his coffee. He's been going
Yep.
since 2 this morning, probably. I mean, this guy never stops. Uh,
Nonstop.
yeah, I mean, so this is another potential flip candidate right here, big time corner. So I think he looks happy as well, man.
Yep. So we're gonna go on to the next one. This is Tristan Givens. I'm seeing some long arms, man. He's got the Cuban links on. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's looking good, looking happy. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, long, nice frame on him. I mean, you can tell he can add a ton of weight to that frame. I mean, I can see him
Yeah,
easily adding about 30, 20, 30 pounds, like quick.
easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like quick.
easy. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, he looks good, looks happy as well. Looks like he's back around some familiar faces, people that he knows, people that he's comfortable with. And
Mhm.
it's just great when all these big time recruits can get on campus and feel at home with one another. Hopefully they can all come play for the same school.
Yes, sir. And so this is going to be this is TJ White. So Tristan Givens, he's an edge rusher for those of y'all that don't know, four-star edge rusher. TJ White, four-star linebacker. He could also probably come off of the edge. But what are you thinking here, P? I mean, to me, he looks pretty solid. I think that he might be able to be a come off of the edge sort of a player. But what are you thinking
Mhm.
here? Let me also say this, P. There was an article that came out a couple of days ago with On Three. I think it was with Chad Simmons or somebody, but they were talking about Tennessee with Braden Rouse. That's another four-star linebacker. Tend to we're in a really, really good spot there. But what are you feeling here just looking at this picture, Pete?
I mean, just looking at it, I don't quite see that same love for this the same joy I'm seeing in his other pictures. I don't see it here. Now, it could be a off shot, or it could be a guy that just doesn't show much emotion. He kind of keeps his emotions in check, which hey, you actually love to see that from a guy.
Love
So
to see it.
he's like he's a business first type of guy. He's up here. This is a pure business trip for him. Let me see, do I like this school or not? He's kind of feeling out as he goes. And hey, hopefully we can win him over because he's a really good player, like you alluded to,
Mhm.
versatile guy can rush the passer, can also drop back and stop the run too. So can do it all for you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, talking about business, I think tomorrow they're going to get down to business with the revenue sharing with the NIL. So once Austin Price and Matt Ray and all those guys actually interview these players coming out of their OV, I would expect for everybody to be all smiles, even TJ White. I would expect that he looks totally different coming out of those talks because Tennessee is about to go, I think, all in for the players that we really want. So
Right.
you know what? Expect us to finish strong. Okay.
Yeah.
Expect us to finish strong. Now, P, I do want to go on ahead and move on. And I want to talk, or I actually want to listen to this YouTube podcast, and I think it's called UCLA LAFB. So these are brewing, I guess, like insiders, or maybe similar to what this channel is for Tennessee, but for those Bruins. They're coming off of, and in this clip that we're going to be watching, some of y'all may have already seen it. Let me pull it up real quick.
So we
Pause it.
got to see.
Okay, boom. So I'm gonna pause it there so that y'all can see what we're talking about. I want to listen to what they're saying about Joey Aguilar. This is the first opportunity that the media got to watch spring practice at UCLA. They're
Mhm.
going to talk about Joey versus the other quarterbacks. I just want for y'all to hear what they're saying. Now, understand, I don't know if they were in full pads, but I know that there was no pass rush. So I think that this is more like not really routes on air, it's routes versus defense, but just listen to what they're saying, P. And then we'll come back and talk about it.
Three quarterbacks really up close and personal over the course of the 2 hour spring practice here. Joey Aguilar, I've sort of nicknamed him Joey Football, is clearly sort of come in as QB1. I think we've got Luke Duncan slotted right now as QB2. and then Demarcus Davis as QB3, just in terms of reps and order of things. But Will, from my vantage point, felt like this is a much closer competition, I believe, from the eye test and just sort of from the analysis test than perhaps I think the narrative may suggest right now with UCLA football. I think Joey Aguilar, obviously a number of first team reps there, did some good things, but Will, 2 interceptions in the, the 7-on-7 situation that was taking place there, both on deep balls. One where I thought it was a bad read. It was sort of crowded. The second, receiver was somewhat open, but the ball hung. So a little bit of concerns with Aguilar just in terms of deep ball velocity and just sort of vision down the field. He did have the 14 interceptions at Appalachian State last year. And so those habits seem to carry over. Now, again, it's just one practice that we're witnessing and this time to sort of get used to a new system. But I thought that was a little bit of a concern. And on top of that, I think the short ball was sort of lacking some precision and some touch. He did hit some really nice intermediate balls. But overall, I think it was sort of a so-so performance from Joey Aguilar. I thought Luke Duncan looked phenomenal, Will. And, we've sort of talked about this at length. He just looks like Curtis Rourke. I mean, when you think about Tino Sunseri's system at Indiana last year, obviously with Cignetti at the helm, Curtis Rourke and Luke Duncan, they look the same. They have that same high release, beautiful ball. And I thought Duncan threw a couple of really nice out routes and just tremendous zip on the ball and really threw receivers open. And then I think with Demarcus Davis, Will, and excited to get your thoughts.
Wow.
I think his ceiling is the highest. I mean, this guy is
Yeah.
an unbelievable athlete. I think he's still a little raw. To me, it feels like it's going to be kind of a 2-horse race between Aguilar and Duncan. And I think that gap is closer than people realize. With Davis, I think needing another year in the system, and then who knows where that can go. So what were your takes kind of in terms of the QB room and what?
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. So some of y'all, if y'all have watched this channel, then y'all know that sounds a lot like what P and I have said. I think really even most probably Tennessee fans, period, where Joey Aguilar's coming in. You say, okay, he's the veteran, but you're a little bit worried about the interceptions and things like that. And then you think about Merck. You say, well, hey, Merck, he's kind of like might have a little bit more of an upside, right? But he hasn't played that much, so you don't know. But then you've got that freshman, you've got that young guy, which is GMAC. You say, man, he's got the highest ceiling. He just wows you. So some of this stuff might just be normal for every single fan base, right? Like the most popular player on everybody's team is typically the backup quarterback, or at least who we think the backup quarterback is going to be. But I am still a little bit concerned because this would probably be the most recent, I guess kind of like, most recent takeaway that we've heard from Joey playing, right? From him actually playing football. New to that system. He's going to be new to our system. But they're saying, hey, well, it feels like he's still throwing picks. Now, is that a habit that just Joey can't get out of? Like, will this offensive system help? And understand that their offensive coordinator now, P, is the guy from Indiana. Their system is very similar to what Tennessee does. As far as you're going to have the option routes, you're going to have the, kind of like half field reads and all of that type of stuff. It's not going to be quite the same, but there will be a lot of similarities. Either way, P, what's your takeaway from what you just heard with the people who got to see Joey Aguilar throw the football and actually play in a live setting, I guess the most recently?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a cause to sound the alarm per se, but it is kind of, it makes you want to kind of listen and try to hear more about this because I mean, like you said, they just got to see this guy out there playing, and it sounds like he kind of came in there. Maybe they had high expectations for him. It sounds like, from what he's saying, that he was already presumed to be the starter, but that competition is actually closer than people expect it to be. In part because it sounds like the backup's pretty good, but a lot of it had to do with, like you said, Joey's throwing picks, missing on some deep balls and maybe even missing on some short routes as well. So there's a little bit alarming, but like I said, you don't have to sound the alarm because I mean this is just one practice. I'm not sure if this is the first practice or what exactly practice this was, but I mean it's his first time out there with a brand new team. Now the huge difference is, for us, he's coming in pretty much, for the summer. Like so, there's not much time at all for him to get ready to go out there and win games for us. So if he does come in and have a kind of a rough start, like it looks like he did here at UCLA, um, will he be able to do enough to win the job? Like
Mm.
I think this really is a three quarterback race. I mean, at least a two quarterback race for us. This competition is wide open, and I mean, I just hope that Joey can come out here and be consistent, consistently not turn the ball over, and consistently, make the right reads. Especially if he wants a chance to be the starter, he's going to have to get rid of those interceptions and get rid of kind of the missed throws down the field that you see from him sometimes.
Yeah, so this is, and I thought that I might have said it earlier, but this is going to be in spring practice with the Bruins. This was the first practice that the media got to go out there and watch them practice. So it's probably a few practices in. Now, I
Mhm.
also want to let y'all know that after this video, and we'll listen to what the other guy has to say here. We're gonna listen to what Will has to say too. But the next video that they posted was whenever Nico was hitting that transfer portal. So we'll talk about that once we get done listening to what Will has to say.
What you saw on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a wide open competition, is what I assess from what we were able to gather. Joey Aguilar making a big jump from Appalachian State. I know a lot of people are dead set on penciling him in as the starter. And I think we have to take a cautious approach to that because we just saw something very similar a few years ago with Colin Schlee coming in from Toledo, and he had starting experience. He started, 12, 13 games for the Toledo Rockets the year before, and he gets onto a bigger stage within the Pac-12 and, at times was maybe one of the more frustrating quarterback situations UCLA's had in a long stretch of time there. So I would preach patience with Aguilar. You mentioned the interceptions. I mean, 14 interceptions, guys. That is more than one a game at the college level. That is a lot of turnovers. And to his credit, he's got that gunslinging style that Brett Favre has. He made some plays too. We saw him make, some very aggressive throws downfield, but those two interceptions stood out in practice after the 14 interceptions previously a year ago.
All right, so we're gonna pull ourselves back up. So basically, he kind of goes on to say that Joey, he threw some picks, but he also made some plays. Like you said, man, Favre, it was the same thing. So Favre did end up winning a Super Bowl. I mean, he probably should have won more. Wait a second, did he ever win one?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? So he win one with? So he won one with Green Bay. Did he win one with Minnesota? I
I
don't
don't
remember.
believe
But
so. Yeah, I don't think so.
either way, right? Like, I don't know if that's really how you want to live with Tennessee's offense. Honestly speaking, I don't know if this team is necessarily built to hold up versus a whole bunch of interceptions. Not saying that that's going to happen. This is a takeaway from one practice. Okay, it's not everything, but like we were talking about, the next video that they posted was once Nico hit the transfer portal. And truth be told, they were ready to kick Joey Aguilar to the curve like that. Okay. It was not even a quick, it was quick, which you would anticipate because you see the 5 stars, you know about the rankings and all of that. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it for y'all. Joey Aguilar is not going to be Nico. There's still a lot of folks, and it's fine if you want to feel this way, but there still are a lot of folks that are trying to say, well, Joey's going to be better than Nico. I don't know if we can say that for sure. I don't know if we can say that he won't be, but he's not as talented. They're not on the same level with the talent. That's just the straight out truth.
Yeah.
Now, with those things being said, P, how do you and then too, my biggest thing here, P, is that I don't want for the fan base to get to a point where I think that we can be confident with what this team can do. But understand the quarterback is a huge deal for an entire team, not just for your offense, but for everything. It is a big deal. So with us having kind of like a question mark there, I've said, hey, I could see Tennessee because we have a very weak schedule, winning several games, only losing 2 or 3. But if we don't, it doesn't mean that Coach Heupel needs to be fired. And I've said that before, but I feel like I need to bring that back in. That's just how I feel personally. But
Yeah.
P, what are your takeaways from the last little portion there from what Will Decker had to say? He also did talk about that Joey Aguilar in this practice was like 50%. He said that the like backup quarterback I think he said like 7 of 8 or like 8 of 9 or something like that. So just basically they're gushing over the other guys and they're like, well, Joey did some things that it wasn't great, but it wasn't absolutely horrible either. But
Mhm.
what are your takeaways, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes a great point. Talks about, I guess the guy they had the year before who came in from Toledo and made the big jump into a Power Four conference, and
Oh,
you could imagine Joey having a similar deal, trying to make a jump from essentially he's coming from App State straight to Tennessee, pretty much, right? Like, I mean, he was at UCLA for however long, couple months, whatever. But I mean, that's a huge jump, and so I think it is a lot of expectation to kind of put on the guy to come in here, win the starting job in what, just a few months. Win the locker room, learn the playbook, and then like you hear these guys talking about some of the throwing mistakes that he's making, the picks, and you said 50% in practice. I mean, that's not very good at all in practice. So
Hey,
uh,
hey, hey, and then too, understanding that there was no pass rush. Like they weren't going versus a live pass rush.
mm,
So
so I
had to
mean,
had to had to throw that in there too.
and again, we're not trying to sound doom and gloom here. I mean, this is just
No.
one practice. Like we talk about this all the time, guys. I mean, everybody's gonna have a bad practice. Maybe he had a bad practice. I mean, heck, and he is new to this school, new to this offense, new to this system. So there's no telling what these picks were. Was it just a miscommunication with the receiver or whatever? There's no telling. But I mean, definitely, man, this thing's wide open. I mean, Jake, George, those guys got ready to go because I
Mhm.
don't think we can just necessarily bank on Joey winning the job. And if he does win it, being a guy that can go out there and win games for us necessarily.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we will see. But one of the other things to me, P, is that listening to the insider saying that, well, we've talked to some of the wide receivers, we talked to some of the players, and asked them about the quarterbacks throwing and all of that. And the only thing that was let out was that, they pretty much all throw, about even. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a big difference there. Do you think, P, this is a situation where no news might be bad news?
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
you know what I'm
Because I
saying? Like
mean,
just understanding that the fan base is dying for any like morsel of positivity coming from Joey coming in. Do you think that this is a negative thing that they're not that the insiders aren't saying, boy, nothing that's really out that's really kind of separating him?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, first of all, I feel like they asked the same question when Nico was there, and then I mean, you see like Mike Matthews, some of these guys, their face light up, like, man, he throws, he throws a beautiful ball. Like they
Mhm,
kind of like were gushing over
mhm.
over how Nico threw. So I mean, that's one thing, and then two, yeah, like you said, I mean, they know we want to hear about how Joey's building rapport with these receivers and how's he looking. Is he a guy who can win, lead us to a daggum conference championship, whatever. And like you said, the fact that they're not saying anything, I mean, that tells you kind of all you need to know, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know necessarily. Like I'm not again, it's not all like doom and gloom. I'm not trying to say, dang, you know what? Joey just sucks. But I'm not saying
Yeah,
that because you already know people will take it and they'll just run
you're
off the
right.
face of
Yeah.
the planet with it. But my whole thing is I just want to try to reel things in because I want for people to understand how this situation is. I have the utmost confidence. P, I think that you do too, because we have a really good coaching staff, because we have a really good offensive line. We've got some young wide receivers, but they're very talented. Excuse me. I think that our ends are really good. Running backs, running game's always there. Defense should be able to step up. So we feel like if we can get a quarterback that will just manage the game, be able to make the plays at the right times, right, which is tough for you to coach that, then we could be special. And of course, again, y'all, our schedule is probably the weakest in the SEC. Our schedule is very weak. All right, it is very, very, very weak. So that's why we're saying it's not like, oh man, you know what I'm saying. But at least that's why I'm saying it. I feel like shoot,
Mhm.
if you look at the schedule, you go through game by game. Well, which ones are we really losing? You might see three that you say, you know, I can see us losing any of these three, but shoot, that would put us at 9-3. P. That's a really good record. So
Oh, yeah, for
as
sure.
long as we don't absolutely, blow it in one of those other games, then we should be fine. But I'm gonna
Mhm.
keep on saying this. I know that GMAC is just a freshman. I've already heard that he's gained about what 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds, something like that. So he must be up to about 205 because he was listed at 190. He's up to 205. If he gets up to 215 P by the time this season starts, and I don't even know if that's big enough for him because he's probably closer to 6'7" than he is to 6'6".
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's tall.
He's
But
he's
hey
big
but
for
hey,
tall people along. Yeah.
freaking Tyler Bray, I mean,
Yeah.
do you remember if he started as a freshman, as true freshman? I can't remember if he did. I wanna say he did.
I don't remember, but shoot,
And
there's a
he was
lot of
like the same
similarities there.
he was the same exact size. He was like 6'6",
Yeah.
190, like, he
Yeah,
was
he
he
was
was a re
tall and long.
yeah. He was just a dog though, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he was a dog.
he was a
And listen,
dog.
hey, I mean, I know there's still a lot of Tennessee fans that are mad at Kiffin. Um, but dude, Kiffin could get the quarterbacks ready.
Mhm.
Like he had them quarterbacks balling,
Mhm. Yep.
balling.
Mhm.
But so anyway, though, all right, we're gonna move on to the next spot. Again, open competition. We have no idea really what's gonna happen. There's not a lot of information that's being leaked out, so we'll have to see once those pads come on. But the next thing that I want to talk about, P, is Tennessee center room. William Satterwhite, who I would love to start, is because then you could have Sam Pendleton playing next to him at guard. But it does feel like maybe William Satterwhite didn't finish spring camp as strongly as they wanted him to. So Sam Pendleton could get the start here. If he does, P, who do you think would be that next? Who do you think will be playing at guard? Or do you think that maybe somebody else could get the start instead of Pendleton?
No, I think it would be Pendleton at center, and then probably Sham would be your right guard. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
which I don't see him. Oh, that's a center room. Yeah, I think it'll be Sham would probably be the right guard, but it could also be Jesse Perry. But I'll bet money on one of those two being your
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah. So just kind of like going back and forth through this, I actually think that Tennessee's in a pretty good spot. Yeah, I mean, everywhere else on Tennessee's offensive line is solid. We heard about Lance Hurd cutting weight. That's going to be very, very beneficial. I think that David Sanders is going to be an absolute and total stud. Wendell
Mhm.
Moy playing at left guard, he's going to be good. Sam Pendleton, he's going to fit in somewhere, whether that's at center, whether that's at guard. I think that will be fine. But I guess one of my next questions would be, right? If let's just, oh, thanks, excuse me, I did not mean to. Hopefully that didn't hurt y'all's ears. But let's just say, right? What if Sat does get the start because he looks really good? Like, let's just say if William Satterwhite's like, he's rated as like a 90 at center, and so is Sam Pendleton. Okay. If William Satterwhite gets to start at center, do you think that the offensive line is going to be better because Sam Pendleton can start at guard, or would you rather see a Sam Pendleton starting at center, and then you can bring in a Jesse Perry or bring in a Sham Umarov to play that other guard? What
Well,
do you what
that's
do you think
interesting.
might give us the best overall
Yeah,
look?
that's interesting. I mean, and it depends on kind of where Satterwhite is at, because I mean, if the gap between him and Pendleton, like if it's like say Sat's on like an 80 overall, but Pendleton's an 88 at center, then in that case, I think you'd be better off with Pendleton being your center because I think there's not that much of a gap between Sam Pendleton, Umarov, and Jesse Perry. I think they're all probably pretty similar. There's not much drop off, but I think
Mhm.
there's a potentially bigger drop off, just depending on how good Sat is. We don't really know. I think there's potentially a bigger drop off there if you know what I'm saying, like from Satterwhite to Pendleton, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
yeah. So yeah, I think we'd probably be better if I mean best case scenario, I think Sat is like a 90, like you said, and then we can just kind of roll there and have more depth and more guys that can play. But you
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
Yeah, but so you basically think that having Pendleton starting at center might be the best overall look for Tennessee this year. Just
Yes.
if William Satterwhite, because I mean, really, like if it's still kind of up in the air, that's not
Mhm.
a great sign. You know what I'm saying? Like you would think
Yeah.
that he should probably be able to win that job. So I think that you're probably on to something with that, P.
Mhm.
Now let's go into the next room. A lot of folks aren't really talking about Star, but I think Star is a place that you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Because Boo is going to be playing offense, defense, special teams. So he's going to need a break. Who
Mhm.
do you see stepping up here? Jordan Thomas, you can almost hate to say it every time that we have to say it. I have to tell you that I hate saying it, but Jordan Thomas might not even play this season. So who do you
Yeah.
think maybe could step up at star? And do you think that this is an issue for trying to find out who the second string guy is?
I think it is an issue. To me, the most natural fit there. I mean, I like Caleb Beasley there, but I think Jalen McMurray honestly is like a natural fit there. But he's also like
Mm,
your number three corner, depending on was it Colton Hood? Is that his name?
yeah,
Depending on kind
Colton
of how
Hood.
he pans out. So I always forget about him. So we have basically three corners there that we feel pretty decent about, and then it'll be true freshmen. Well, and also you have McMurray. So I guess we have four corners that we feel pretty good about, and then true freshmen after that. Um, but I think Jalen McMurray honestly would be a pretty natural fit here, but I just don't know how that works with him being your kind of your first corner off the bench, if you will. I don't know how that would
Yeah,
work. So
yeah, so,
I don't know.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's it. That's it. I was gonna say,
Okay.
considering that, I'd probably say Beasley would be my number one option. But I don't know. I like McMurray a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? I probably should have taken Beasley off of here, but he definitely is going to be playing safety. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's kind of doesn't even count. I
Yeah.
would say that you're on to something. I think J Mac, Marcus Gorey. I really like what
Mhm.
I've seen out of those freshmen too, P. I mean,
Yeah.
goodness
Me
gracious.
too.
Dylan Lewis and then Trey, both of those guys look like they have the length, they have the size. I think that they're physical enough. I think that they really understand ball too. That's important. Playing at
Mhm.
star, you have to understand ball. But what are you thinking about a guy like William Wright? Do you like him better at star or outside corner? Or we could talk about the safety room too. Of course,
Mhm.
y'all already knew that this was coming, but where would you like a guy like a guy like William Wright at?
Yeah, I like my star, and maybe that's just because was it 2022? He was
Uh,
wearing number 36. He came in against Bama, and he played like that last drive. Bama had the ball. He was playing star, playing the slot, covering guys up. So I think he could play that, and he has a similar build to a Jalen McMurray. So kind of a very similar type player, in my opinion. And physical, redshirt senior, been here forever, knows what to do. So I think he'd be a good option for sure as well at star.
Okay, so star for him. So
Hmm.
safety. This one's big just because there's not any depth here. Like there is no depth. There the two guys down at the bottom, they're both freshmen, as y'all can see. Sidney Walton made the move in spring to corner. They may have to move him back just for sheer numbers. But super thin here, right? So Andre Turrentine, then you got Ed, then you got Caleb Beasley. Oh, I'm sorry. I always say Sidney Walton moved to the cornerback. I meant to say Tim
Merritt.
Merritt. He's the one who moved the corner.
Okay.
But and then you've got Sidney Walton. So I mean, just super young here, guys that haven't played that much. We got to add a body here. I think that we've talked about this in some previous videos. But if you could just have like one final answer for who you add to this room from our current roster to help us feel more comfortable and more confident with our safeties, who would that be?
Man, I don't know. One guy to add. I mean, like if I mean, heck, I don't know. Like the name that comes to mind, two names came to mind immediately: Marcus Goree and then freaking Tyler Redmond. And
Okay.
the reason why I like Redmond looks good at corner too, but I like him because obviously he's long. He's sick. He's listed 6'2", but I think he's about 6'4". I mean, he's long. He's what, like 200 pounds, maybe more than that. Like he's got good
Mhm.
size. So he's a guy. I mean, I can see him actually growing into a safety. And I actually said this. We had him on the show before, several months ago. We had him on the show, and I was like, man, hey, listen, don't be scared to ask those coaches if you can play a little safety. You know what I mean? And I don't know if he has yet, but I mean, I think he's a natural fit there at safety. So if I had to pick one guy, I might go Sidney Walton. I mean, not Sidney Walton, Tyler Redmond.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Tyler, so he actually told us that he was going to get his first try at star.
yeah.
So I didn't listen. I think that it does kind of make sense that you bring in several guys and say, hey, listen, you don't know where you're going to be playing at inside of the secondary. Start it off at star because star is probably the most difficult place to play as far as
Mhm.
the coverage. Coverage is really hard, but then you also got to be very, very physical. So then we could tell from there, okay, based off of this, okay, hey, we can bump you back and play some safety too, or now you just have to only play corner unless we get into a bad situation. And then you've got it, as far as we can push you is star. You can never play safety, right? Just because
Mhm.
you're not physical enough. I think that Tyler Redmond's one of those guys, and really all the freshman cornerbacks that they brought in, I think that they're all like that, where I mean, shoot, like they could really play anywhere. So there is some versatility. We won't know exactly how this is going to look, of course, until we get into fall camp. We're
And
like a month and a half away from that, which is
let me
just a
ask you a
daggone
crazy
fine change.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, you feel pretty good about our freshman wide receivers,
Uh-huh.
Travis Smith, Redarius,
Uh-huh.
even what's the guy that just came in, the
Oh,
freshman,
Dotson.
Dot. Yeah, you feel good about those guys. Do you think this team would be better if Mike Matthews moved to safety? Do you think he'd be that
Ooh,
good at safety, and then we
wow.
get enough from those freshmen
Wow.
that all of a sudden now this team's even better?
Wow, that's such a great question. That's a great question. I don't
Mhm.
know because I'm gonna have to say first and foremost, I do think that Mike Matthews is probably the best safety on this team. Like I really think that
Yeah.
because he's a 5-star safety. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Mhm.
he is for real, for real. So, but I think that with what we've gotten by with, not taking a shot at anybody, but with what we've gotten by with at safety over the past few years, I say, well, shoot, like maybe we don't really need, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, we really
yeah.
don't even need a 5-star. I think that the quarterbacks might need more help, and
Great
then that
point.
wide receiver room is already very, very thin. So I think that Mike Matthews helps us out more if he's playing offense. But what do you
Mm.
think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably feel the same way, but I mean, it would be nice to have a true playmaker back there. Roaming center field, like almost kind of like how we had Eric Berry back in the day. Like just a guy who can freaking make plays on defense, in the back end. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah.
would be nice. I mean, that would be really nice. Something we haven't really had in a while. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know, man. The defense in me kind of would want to see him switch over to defense, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, like I don't know why he can't play both ways. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
Boo's
just
doing it.
let him do it. Yeah. I mean, dude, like if Boo can do it, I feel like Mike can do it too. Like, and maybe
Yeah.
they'll try it on that. That'd be crazy. But let's talk about these backers. Not a lot of so for me, I think that AC's he's probably gonna start, right? He's gonna start. But who starts next to him? The closer that we're getting to this, I don't know. And I think part of it for me is that I keep on watching so much film and I'm realizing that almost every game, the biggest problem with our defense was our linebackers. They've got to take a pretty big step forward this year, for them to not, for some of these players to not get passed up. I'm just going to say it
Mhm.
that way. But who do you see? And I'm going to say for game one, and then for the halfway point through our season, and then to end the season, starting as our linebackers. And I could almost say starting next to Arion Carter.
Yeah. I mean, I would bet the house is gonna be Power T and AC all day long. I mean, those are gonna be your two guys. I think it's gonna be Jeremiah Lander and
And
Aaron Carter.
so you
Now,
think from start to finish
yeah.
of the season?
So
Okay.
definitely to start the season. Now we don't really know Coach Inge well enough to know is he guys going to actually make a change mid-season and pull a guy and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put in this young guy ahead of you, Jeremiah, or AC, whatever. I don't know. It is because I mean T-Liner, he's such a tough guy to try to replace because he's going to do it right. Yes sir, no sir, leader. Everybody looks up to him. It's going to be
Yeah.
tough to unseat him. You know what I'm saying until he leaves. So yeah, I think they'll be the two starters all year long.
Okay, I look at it a little bit differently. I think the coach ends is about winning ball games. Like I think that the yes sir no sir stuff is cool, but I think that everybody on the team should be that way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it
everybody
should
should
be.
be on it. But it's more about hey, can you get here in time to make this play? Because we're gonna lose if you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's one of those
Right.
situations, do you fully trust Power T to do that? I mean, there was a lot of times last year. I'm just gonna call it spade a spade. There was a lot of times last year when I don't think was physically capable of doing those things. Honestly speaking.
Mhm.
Now, maybe he got us, maybe he gained a step with his speed. Maybe understanding what's going on will help him be able to make the plays a little bit faster. But I'm looking at Edwin Spillman, who I think might be a little bit of a better athlete. He can maybe get there a little bit quicker. I'm also looking at Jordan Burns. If Jordan Burns, like I said, if he's up to about 235 this year, I think he has a very good chance to be the best linebacker on this entire team because of his skill set. Will he actually be that in the games? I don't know, but I think that just physically, he's the best athlete in that room. I think that
I
he is.
agree. I
You
agree.
know,
And and
then you've
and that's
got
the thing.
these.
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say that's the thing. Like, I just don't see him not letting AC and JT start. But I could see him a deal where maybe Spillman, Burns, maybe even some of those freshmen, where their plays goes increases, where they're
Mhm.
getting more snaps. But I think JT still trots out there first.
Okay, yeah. Hey, I think that you could be. I mean, you could be right. So I would say maybe to start the season off, yeah, maybe it's Power T. But I think that as the season wears on, I wouldn't be totally shocked. And I'm not taking a shot at anybody. I wouldn't be totally shocked if somebody else was starting next to AC. I personally wouldn't. And then you're looking at these young guys, all those freshman linebackers. Okay, both of the Jadens. I think Christian Gas is going to be more of a Leo, but those guys, they're ballers. I mean, ballers. So, it'll be really really interesting to see what ends up happening with this one. This is not really like an issue. I know that we said that we're going to talk about, some of the rooms that are kind of like up in the air. There's no real issue here. I'd be fine with Power T starting all season long next to AC. I'd be fine with the combination of a lot of different players here just because it is so versatile. But I do feel like we've got to take a step forward in a way, to do something a little bit different than what we saw last year. If
Yeah.
we do that, this defense is going to be crazy good. Obviously,
Oh,
safety,
yeah.
we've got some question marks there, but I think that everything else is there.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall last season I probably grade the linebackers like a B minus.
Mm.
I think you need to be at least like a B plus, really right there in that A kind of threshold to
Mhm.
take that next step. And so we'll see if we can do that. I think we definitely have the talent in that room. So that's gonna be probably in my opinion. Everybody talk about the safety, which yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, it's really those those backers. Like, how are they going to play? Because, like you said, a lot of big plays to give up last year. They were attacking that area of the field.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. All right, P. Well, we are going to go on ahead and skate, but thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Again, happy Father's Day to you, because I'm not sure if we'll be back at any point tomorrow. And if we're not, then we will see y'all on Monday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.